All right, the video today, this is a continuation of a video I did last weekend where we were cleaning up a set of dual SU carburetors. This is the heat sink from those carburetors. You can see I've already removed the gasket material and did some just basic brushing. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up on this before I can sell it on eBay. So what we're going to do today is we're gonna get this cleaned up real nice, give it a good polish. We're gonna fix this little crack. I don't know if you can see. There's a crack in the metal right here. There it is. Yeah, it fits together nicely. There's not a warping or anything. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna tack that back together with the flux core welding. That'll be a neat exercise. Welding on really thin metal is kind of tricky, and I'll give you some tips on that. So we're gonna fix this. I'm gonna polish it up real nice. We're going to replace these, used to be asbestos pads with a different kind of heat reflecting material that looks a little bit better than that, and it's not cancer causing. So let's go ahead and get started on this. First things first, when you do a little welding, you have to make sure you have good clean surfaces. So I'm going to take a wire brush on the wheel, and we're going to get this nice and spotless so we can get a good bond with that metal. All right, so there we go. We got it nice and cleaned up. You can see the little groove here where the welding is going to take place. And I cleaned it up on both sides. When it gets hot, you don't want any kind of oxidization to cause the weld to spatter or to break in its connection. So that you really just need to have it clean to get a good solid weld. All right, so that's pretty clean. I'm going to go ahead and set up the welder, and we'll start spot welding. Just some little tacks. Now, this is really thin gauge metal. You can't expect to run a bead just all through just in one go. You will need to tack it on either end just to make sure that it doesn't split or warp as you're welding it. But what we're going to do is try to manage the temperature as much as we can. So a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And the other thing that we're going to do to minimize the temperature problems is we're going to run the flux core wire out quite a bit. Usually you only want your flux core to be about half an inch to even maybe a little less than that, so you can really control the puddle. We're not going to get a puddle. We're just going to tack. So if you run the wire out a good inch or two even, the wire will melt before the target will melt. You'll go through a little extra wire and you'll have to trim it off a little bit, but it'll keep the temperature from getting too hot. So let's go ahead and get this thing grounded, get it clamped up, and then we'll start some tack welds. All right, so you can see I'm going to run the wire out just a little bit further than you normally would. And that way, if it gets hot, the wire will burn before the metal. I'm going to throw a little tack on the end here just to keep it from opening up. I don't know if you can see that, but it's nice and closed. Got a nice little bead right there. I'm going to start walking it back and forth and just put little drops in. Hopefully I can get a good clean fix up here. All right, let's get a clean up and see if I can find some more places because I'm losing track. One other comment. So I picked the back side on purpose because there's going to be a lot of splatter and cleanup on this side, but the facing side, you'll just have the penetration. So you may see the crack or not, but you won't see any of this spatter or the stuff that we're going to clean up with the grinder later. But that's why I'm working on the back side instead of the front side. I might be up just a little bit. I'll keep contact. Small stop. Right in here. Right in here. Down. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and grind that down. Let's have a look and see what it looks like on the other side before I do that. You have an idea of what kind of penetration we got. Here you can see the heat stress, but you can see some of the welds sneaking all the way through. So I think that's pretty good. I don't think we need to put any patches on this side, but it's firm. It's not going to come apart anymore. And we'll grind this down and we'll be good to go. Moving on. Well, there you go. A grinder in paint makes me the welder I ain't. All right, let's get to cleaning this up. The next step here is to get the rust off. We're going to treat that with acid. So going from leather gloves to rubber gloves. We're going to go up and set up a little bin, and I'm going to put some phosphoric acid. It's really good for paint. I have a number of videos of me treating rust with phosphoric acid. We'll soak it down and we'll scrub it down, give it a good washing. Once you put the acid on there, it's going to etch it. So we're going to have to probably plan ahead and think about what kind of paint we're going to put on here. But it's going to be heat resistant, and we're going to go with the silver. So let's see what I got that's close to that in my stores. All right, moving on. And don't forget your PPE, gloves, shields, whatnot. You don't want to get your eyes hurt. All right, so to get the rust off, we're going to be using this concrete and metal prep. Helps paint stick, it says. But if you look on the back here, it'll tell you what the primary ingredient is. Phosphoric acid. Here we go. Acetophosphoric. Where's the English version? Well, anyway, the primary ingredient on this is phosphoric acid. And the reason why I use phosphoric acid is when it converts the rust, it converts it from iron oxide to iron phosphate. And basically it takes the oxygen and replaces it with phosphorus. And iron phosphate is inert and will no longer rust. It won't spread. So it not only does it remove the rust, but it will retard any other rust. Now, the other thing that it does is it will etch the paint. And etching the paint is really good for getting it ready, or etching the metal is really good for getting it ready for paint. But if you don't put paint on it, it'll flash over and rust again. So it's kind of a catch-22. When you're dealing with acids on metal, once you're done, you need to either treat them with oil to seal them, or throw some paint on them. That's what we're going to do with this after we get this all good and cleaned up. So like any other acids, got to make sure that you're using your proper PPE. We're going to use these lovely rubber gloves. And you don't want to get any splashing in your eyes, so we're also going to use a face shield. Same one that we used with grinding. That's going to mute my voice a bit. So let's go ahead and get this thing cleaned up. My wife's gloves from the kitchen, because mine got all tore up. I hope she doesn't mind that I'm using these for acid. All right, I'm ready. Pour a little of this on there. Now you don't want to get this on the concrete on your garage floor, because this will etch the concrete, and I mean right now. It'll go right into it. It'll make grooves and whatnot. So you really don't want that. Make sure that if you're doing this on a nice, you got a good bucket that doesn't have a hole in it. I'm going to go ahead and pour this whole thing in here. This has been reused so many times. Normally it's green, but you can see it's kind of brown because I keep reusing it. It's always good to reuse and reduce. All right. Just going to get it wet all around and then let it set for a while. Let it do its thing. Flip this over and get the other side. Make sure there's nothing dry. See how it's already foaming up? Anytime you're doing this, if you have anything that has rubber on it, make sure you remove the rubber, like rubber seals or O-rings or gaskets or something, because it'll tear that rubber up like it's nothing. Okay, I think I got it nice and wet on both sides. Let's let this sit and come back in about 10 minutes. The other thing is, if you're using phosphoric acid, do not put aluminum. Don't put aluminum in the acid. It'll eat it up. I mean, while you're watching, you'll see the aluminum will go away. So that's very critical. I just got an impulse to scrub. All right, I'm going to leave this right here, and then we're going to come back in about 10 minutes. All right, so here we are. I got the, it's all been out of the acid, and I've cleaned up washed off all the acid, and I did some spot polishing with a wire wheel, and this thing is ready to take paint. So this is my little makeshift paint booth. You know, when you get extra cardboard boxes, don't throw them out. They're very helpful. You can use them for making metal patterns, or in this case, you make a little paint box so you don't get your garage all painted weird colors. So anyway, we're going to use some Krylon high heat. This is a flat aluminum. This is what we're going to go with. This is the color. It's approximately what it will look like. So if you can imagine this looking a nice solid aluminum color, that's what we're going for. We're going to do a couple of light coats. We don't want to get any drips, and I don't want it to be heavy because there's a lot of things that bolt onto this, particularly where the carburetor bolts in. We don't want to change any of the geometry or cause any leaks or anything like that. So we're just going to give it a quick spray down, light coats to get a nice even color and prevent any further rusting. All right, let's go ahead and spray this thing down. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so the last little finishing touches on this project. You can see we've got all the rust handled and it's painted nicely, sanded down and ready to go. Now for the replacement of the asbestos, we're using this this thermal tape. This is really great. I use this on the custom heat shield that I built for my Weber carburetor. And it's just as effective as that asbestos would be, and it tapes on, so you really don't even need these little clips. I don't have it taped on right now, it's just in there for sizing, but I'll take off the backing and put that tape in place. But that's a wrap for today. That's all I got going for this part of the project. The next time that we get together, I'll be working on the next part of this project, which is to polish these dash pots. So make sure you follow the channel and check back next week. We'll have that next little phase done. That's all I got for today. Cheers.